And a Hamilton member of Parliament maintains that Canada has a crucial role to play regarding those displaced from the war in the Middle East. He was among a group of 5 federal MPs who have just completed a humanitarian trip to the region. Jason Gaidola joins us live tonight with more on this. What can you tell us tonight, Jason?
Yeah, Taz, Hamilton Centre MP Matthew Green tells me after spending nearly a week traveling through the West Bank to Jerusalem, he and other MPs want to create a bill that aims to educate Canadians, including the Trudeau government, about the realities there, an effort to demand a ceasefire.
One thing to see something online, social media, or in the news, but to experience it is something completely separate. And I would say to you that the experience that I had, it's a visceral feeling. It's a feeling that at any moment, things can go wrong. You could be detained.
Hamilton Centre MP Matthew Green feels even Canadian citizenship doesn't shield him while traveling through the West Bank with other Canadian MPs. Over 6 days, Green was joined by NDPers Heather MacPherson and Lyndsay Mathesson, along with Liberals Shafqat and Salma Zahid. They passed through security checkpoints and met with authorities in Palestinian refugee camps under Israeli control. In places like Jenin and Ramallah, Green says he witnessed destruction, unlivable conditions, and avoided raids.
An apartment that had been struck by, I think, an F-18, and there was a precision to that bombing where it only impacted that unit. There was no damage to either apartments. And while I was standing in this, what was formerly somebody's home, I couldn't help but think about what was happening in Gaza.
Now back home, Green says the MPs intend to present a bill that demands the Liberal government respond to the crisis. It's been more than 100 days of war between Israel and Hamas, tens of thousands reportedly dead, dozens held hostage with minimal aid in war zones.
Any conversations about Hamas or Israel, that's not for me. What I do know is that Canada has a role to play in upholding international law. Both parties. All parties need to be subjected to international law and need to be held accountable.
So if this can pressure the Trudeau government to have a clear position, I think that would actually be very good. Whatever position they take, it's going to alienate some people. That's inevitable, but that's also political leadership.
A political analyst with Wilfrid Laurier University, Alistair Edgar, believes the Trudeau administration is more concerned about voters as the country sees more civil unrest over its position and global influence.
Canada has lost a lot of its credibility, not just on this. When the Trudeau government was elected and said to the UN, "We're back," then everybody at the UN waited to see what Canada was going to do when it's back. And frankly, it's been very disappointing there too.
The way in which this is being handled by our government, I think, you can anticipate that people will continue to express themselves in that way until such time as they have a government who at the bare minimum can adhere to international law and call for a ceasefire.
Matthew Green says on January 29th, which is the Remembrance Day of the 2017 Quebec mosque attack, MPs will begin sharing their experiences and seek nationwide input about what they want to see from the Trudeau government and how they respond to the state of the Palestinian territories. He says he's expecting it to be a 4 to 6 week process before a bill is presented. Taz.